You're listening to Life and Shyt. I'm Danielle Walker.
And I'm Tommy Walker.
Join us as we talk about our journey overcoming fears, boundaries, marriage, family, lifestyle, business, and whatever other shit you can think of.
We're individuals that came together to create one unit with one mind and one goal.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
When was the first time you ever heard of a bailout ceremony?
You were the person that asked me about a bailout ceremony. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was offended. And there's not too many times in life where I was offended, but that was an offensive question.
Why was it offensive?
You asked me, instead of having a traditional wedding, which I was okay with from a cost perspective, but then you said, well, let's just have a bailout ceremony.
Well, it wasn't about money.
Well, I know, but I'm thinking cost. So I'm like, first thing I'm thinking is like, what the fuck does that mean? Explain yourself, woman. Like, what is a bailout ceremony?
It just means that either one of us can bail out at any time. So let's do this honoring of our commitment to each other. But why do the vows? Why do this if we didn't have to, was my thinking. Why do the legality of it all, right? Like, I get the paperwork done, and plus you were just going through the counseling of all that paperwork. So in my head, it's like, why rebuild that? I love you. I'm going to be with you. Some of my favorite people are like Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell. They've been together forever, never married. It's one of my favorite movies, Overboard, right? So yeah. I have people like that I said, why ruin it, right? Why ruin it with marriage?
And you know what? You brought up a good point, because I was going through a divorce at the time, right? So when you said, hey, let's, we talking about it, how about we just have a bailout ceremony? And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, no, we're not doing that. You're going to carry my last name. You're going to call yourself Mrs. Walker, and we're going to make this thing happen.
But I had to remind you that we were going to be married after a while. Okay, since you're going around telling everybody we're going to get married, I guess I better buy you a ring.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So this is our story. I was reminded that I had promised a ring and a proposal and a marriage. And I was like, and this was after 3 years that we were together.
Yes.
So we were together for 3 years, and then out of nowhere, you remember when you said that you were going to propose?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, like there was no preparation. It wasn't like, yo, let's have a discussion. Yeah. Or it was just out of the, you remember when you said you was going to propose and that you would marry me? And I was like, yeah, I do remember that. But that wasn't like, I was sitting on the couch just trying to figure out my life. I was like, that was talk. That was game, girl. I was just trying to get with you, whatever by any means necessary. So I'm sure there was a lot of those conversations, because that was not only was that when you had to hit me with the reminder, like, do you remember? Yeah. But then you also asked me another question.
Well, then, that's when I went to the let's just have a bailout ceremony and not go through any of that. But let's go back to the game and our story and how we got together and how I first was gamed.
Well, 16 years ago, I met you at church, right? And so I think it was even longer than that. Yeah. So literally almost 2 decades. It's been about 20 years. Yeah. I met you in church, and we were friends, great friends. Mm-hmm. And we started talking, and you seen a book in the backseat of my car.
Yep. The shirt off his back.
Yeah, the shirt off. Yeah.
I can't remember the author, but. Yeah.
The shirt, yeah. But you know what? If anybody has that book, The Shirt Off of His Back, we need a copy of it, because it needs to be in our library.
Do we not have that?
We don't. No, we don't.
I gave it to somebody?
Yeah, we let somebody, but like typical our books, we let somebody borrow and we forget who got them. Yeah. But yeah, you seen that book and you was like, oh, do you read? And that was the only book I read since high school. And I was like, yeah, I read. Yeah. This pretty girl asking me if I read. Of course, I'm gonna say whatever that keeps the conversation going.
Since high school,
Since high school, I don't. The only books I read from high school until the day you asked me that was magazines about sports, magazines about sneakers and magazines. Like that was it. Yeah. I wasn't a reader, but
me, I love books, so I read all the time. They were my escape. So that's just what I did. I always escape in a book. Still do.
And exactly, absolutely. So I had to Roger up. Like you was like, yo, you read? Yeah, I read, girl. Shoot, I read that book. And you was like, well, I never read that one. I'll take it, and we can exchange books. I was like, yeah, let's exchange books. That sounds cool.
I read that book in maybe 2 days or a week or something. I'm like, did you read that book yet? Did you read that book yet? No.
I was always blaming on something. I was always between working. I was in the military at the time, so between the military and working, like we was deep in church. So I was working. I'm like, either way, I'm working. So I never had time to read, but I'm gonna get to it. Don't worry about it.
And in the midst of that, we talked about movies. I was like, oh man, I love movies. I love just chilling and watching movies. And you're like, I love movies too.
What was the first? So the question was, what's your favorite movie? What was your favorite movie?
My favorite movie was Grease.
And mine was The Last Dragon.
Yeah, that's right.
Completely two different worlds. I was like, Grease? Like, what? Like, my movie was Bruce Leroy.
What's your favorite movie now? That's the only reason it took me a minute to think of it, because I have
today?
A different one.
Oh, shoot. I don't know what my favorite movie today is.
Would it still be an old school one? Like, I still love Grease, but my new favorite movie would be 50 First Dates. I just love 50 First Dates.
You love dating movies. Yeah.
I like when the guy tries to get the girl.
Yeah,
I guess.
You love all the persuasiveness.
Yeah,
you're right. See, now, mind you, now I'm about to hit you over the head with something right now, because you don't like being gamed. So we're going to get back to that. You don't like being gamed, but you like all the movies where the game is real.
It's true.
If you look at Grease, he made her switch her whole lifestyle. 50 First Dates. It took 50 first dates. That fool, he got her.
He got her.
He put that video in. The game is real. So Danielle goes to ask me. She was like, "We get together. Finally, we get together. We're working on our coupleism, or whatever you want to call it. We're working on ourselves. Yeah." And the first thing she asked me, like, we move in together, and the first thing she asked me is, "So what's the next book we gonna read?"
I mean, I got books. I got like boxes and boxes of books. I'm looking like, where are your books at?
I still had that one book.
What are we gonna read? And what did you tell me?
I said, girl, that was game.
Oh man, you guys don't even understand.
I looked you straight in your eyes. Girl, that was game.
And this is me. Game?
Yeah, then you had no clue what game was.
What do you mean game? Like, what does this mean, this game you speak of?
So I would really ask, like, fellas, if you ask whoever you're with right now and look them in their eyes, and if they say, "Did you ever game me?" Please be honest.
You mean lie to me?
No, I didn't.
Because you don't read, and you know what? I was genuinely hurt. Like,
I was hurt for a little while.
Wanted to read books with my partner. Now you read books, so
yeah,
but
you wanted
not
to,
the same books.
You wanted to read movies. I mean, you wanted to read books and watch movies. Yeah. That was your thing. I was like, I don't do none of that.
I was like, wait a minute.
We're sitting on the couch in the living room, in our living room together. I was like, I don't do none of that.
Like, how did you get me all the way there and then say that? Like, girl, that was game. I was shocked.
Hey,
I was shocked and appalled.
Hey, like I said, when a pretty girl says, "Do you read books?" I ain't gonna say no. That's stupid.
I was gamed. Y'all. I think, and I want to say, we brought this subject up to family members, and we started talking about being gamed and things like that. And I asked questions like, "When was the last time you were gamed, or were you ever gamed?" And I'm telling you guys, I don't feel like I was gamed ever before.
Nah. I mean, it depends on how you twist it. But again, you like movies that there's a lot of persuasiveness that needs to happen to get the girl.
That's
true.
And
I feel like that's all. I was the guy in the movie that you like. That was it. And now I look at it today, right? But, it was a pretty unique story. And, we got together, and again, we was friends first. And in the beginning, it was cool, right? It was, you had all of the typical things as a relationship has. It was lust. It was sex. It was new.
Yep. So there was the talking all night, up all night,
yeah,
right?
Because you want to get to know each other. What's your favorite
Jackson
color?
Song. Do you remember?
Do you remember? Yeah.
We up all night. We used to do all the romantic things. We used to take all the long walks, and we still do the romantic things. It's not. I'm not saying we don't do those things, but back then it was turned on. It was amplified.
Yeah, very true, very true. And we were young. I mean, I was in my early 20s, like early 20s, right? And
I was in my 20s too. Like my 20s.
Barely,
20s.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
we ain't going to disclose that information, but
I was 25 for a long time.
I was still a kid. You know what I mean? When I look at it, it's funny because as when you turn 18, you're automatically an adult, right? And that's how you look at yourself.
Yes.
Until you become 39, and then you like, I was a fucking kid. I ain't no shit. I was dumb. And when you think back of all the dumb things that you did, that it all comes together. So we're brand new in our newly relationship, right? And we decided, it was like, yo, this is what it is. It was taboo, right? Because I was just coming out of a marriage. Like it wasn't like I was legally divorced.
You were still married, very much.
On paper, I was married,
yes.
But it was over, right?
Correct.
And that's where things just went. I was like, well, shit. I was comfortable, right? I was divorced and getting out of the military at the same times,
and had a baby on the way.
And had a baby on the way.
Yeah, I know it was bad. It was really bad.
So it wasn't bad. It was
bad because
for me,
I was a single woman, and here you are, man, getting out of a divorce and with a fresh a baby coming on the way. I told you when we got together, I told you, baby, you should take some time to yourself.
Absolutely did say. Yeah, you was like, you need to figure out yourself. You
Your
need
life.
to figure out your life. Because I've been alone for 6 years, and I know me. You don't know you. This is and I'm not lying by what I'm saying right now. I could quote this. You don't know yourself like the way I know myself. And I was like, well, shit.
Yeah, well, I had been in a relationship for 6 years, and then I had been out of a relationship for 6 years. So, and I still believe men, I think, generally have more of a tendency than women to just go from one relationship to the next relationship and I don't know if it's just they want that in home or in house, or if it's just that the companionship, or they just need someone to take care of them or cook, or I don't know what it is, but
it's all of those things. Yeah. Like it ain't one, it's all of them.
I think that it's important to take that time to get to know yourself, at least in between people, right? Yes. We often conform to the person who we're with.
That's very true.
You start to change your ways, start to change who you are. And then when you're by yourself, you figure you out, like, oh shit, I ain't even like that, you know?
This is who I am.
I like this, all this time she ain't like that, but I liked it, or I like it, you know what I mean? So I thought that was very important to do.
Yeah, and you know what? And I applaud you for that, because it was definitely weird. Literally, it was from here to here. And like you just said, I'm the person who I was with. You know what I mean? And then you had to not only deal with that person, but then you also had to deal with all the baggage that came with that person.
Correct.
So, yeah, you're absolutely correct. I didn't have the opportunity to clean out my luggage, put it away, throw away the things that I didn't need anymore. All that shit came with me.
Yes, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was a very weird time. And not only that, we had kids. So you had my daughters, who were, 9 and 6 at the time, and then my son, and then the baby that was on the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was weird.
It really was. It was a weird time. And then our children, kind of making them blend in, and then having the girls say, now we have a dad. Like, what is this? This is different, and he's telling us what to do, and he has some kind of say in here, and those conversations that I had to have with my daughters. The conversation of, we were a unit together, and we are bringing someone else in. We are all still very much a unit, but we are bringing someone that's going to better our unit.
We're expanding the unit now.
And then having, I trusted you, I loved you, but this doesn't mean that the children are going to love or trust you.
Very true.
You love me, but it doesn't mean that our children are going to be the same way. And we had to earn that trust, and earn that love. And it was easy because we had great kids. Of course, we all have the rough patches.
It was funny,
yeah.
Especially when we talked about this show and listening to our oldest daughter talk about the conversations they used to have as a kid, which like you will definitely hear our kids on this show. show at some point. But it is just funny to hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, growing up and all the things, the way that we seen it and the way that they seen it. What were some of the things that she said?
You downstairs making his sandwiches.
Oh, yeah. You don't make us sandwiches anymore, Mom.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's the first time I've ever heard that.
Yeah, me too.
16 years later, 20 years later, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like,
I'll make you a sandwich right now if you want.
The little jealousies.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I called you my love one time and the girls were like, well, you call me my love. Why are you calling him my love? I'm like, you guys, what's going on here? You know? So getting through that.
Yeah, and one of the things in our culture, we don't see successful relationships, right? Our grandparents, some of our grandparents been together for 50, 60 years. Like my great grandparents was together for 50 years, but I didn't see that relationship. Like I don't know what a successful relationship looks like, right? So in our early years, you just hop in and there's no blue book, there's no blueprint on it.
Right.
So you just do what you think is right and then you go from there. And man, the beginning years were like the first 3, right? Was easy. Yeah. It was a breeze, right?
They went quick.
They went quick, and then and then you hit me with the proposal, and then the bailout ceremony. I was like, yo, she ain't committed. She's not about this life. Why am I gonna put all this energy into it? And she ain't down. And then
it wasn't like that though. It was mostly because of what you just said though. It's because of us not seeing a lot of successful marriages or a lot of successful relationships at the time. The divorce rate was like so high. Yeah. It was more people getting divorced than married. Yeah. I'm not sure where it is now, but that was crazy. So I figure why put ourselves through that and why not just be committed.
You were looking out for both of our feelings.
I believe.
Right.
And finances and time. And I was thinking all the way ahead.
Well, shit, we both didn't have any money. So you wasn't looking for that much out on the finance side.
I was making a little change.
Yeah.
I'm starting to.
Yeah, but time, definitely, right? You didn't want to waste time. But after then eventually we got married. And then once we got married, oh, man, the game changed.
It did. It did. I still remember you saying that I was going to change when we got married. I'll never forget that.
Oh, yeah. I was like, girl, don't change on me.
Yeah, I was like, why are you saying that? He said, no, I'm serious. People change.
Because
People change.
I didn't want to miss what I said before. I didn't want to miss the newness, the sex, the lust. Like these were things that I was like, yo, this is every man like, yo, this is cool.
Yeah,
I got a cool girl. She watched sports. Like, yo, this is, I'm getting
get quickies in the bathroom.
Yeah, we was getting quickies everywhere. Shit, I'll take a lunch break from work to go. Like, so you were.
It's still like that.
Yeah, we were hitting all of the check boxes. Like it was on point.
I didn't change.
You have not changed today, no. But you have evolved, and in that
most definitely. Thank
you. We had a growth spurt is what I like to call it. And in that growth spurt, man, seasonal arguments. And when I say seasonal arguments, I mean, it wasn't like, oh, we were mad at each other for a night. It was like 3 months of arguing and then 3 months of cool and then 3 months of arguing. And it was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. What is going on? It was crazy. It got to the point, and I say this with any relationship, you get close to each other. And in the beginning, when you first get together, let's just start there. In the beginning, when you first get together, you have the toothpaste. Like maybe you do something quirky, like you don't put the lid on all the way. And then you're like, oh, it's so cute how he does that. He doesn't put the toothpaste on all the way, you know? And then after 3 months in, it's like, why the hell didn't he put the top on the toothpaste? You know, like every single time, you know, it just gets annoying. Like Martin Lawrence said, you know, about getting food. You can get cheese on that burger. It's okay. And the next time, you want cheese on that burger? You know, you give me an extra now. So it's that sugar kind of to shit kind of, you know, and one of the things that I was totally against was the monogamous of our monogamous need. What am I trying to say?
Just the fucking over and over again.
Yeah,
the monotony.
Yeah. The monotony. Thank you. The monotony of our weeks, right? So it was the same thing all the time. The same thing. day in, day out. And I said, Tommy, you know what? If we continue like this, then it's not going to work. We must get out. We have to do something. I started searching for places for us to go. Puerto Nuevo, to LA for the weekend, Carlsbad.
Yeah.
We need to get out.
We had to get out of Dodge.
For like at least once a month. We need to do something different. If we don't do something different, then the monotony of my life is going to drive me crazy. Kids, dinner, the same thing. Like women know, like you get into this routine, and your kids they come first. You got to get them ready for school. You got to get them up for school. You got to make them dinner. You got to do the homework, and then it's just the same thing. And
exactly.
I couldn't do it. So I think that was a huge key.
I think, and a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche, he says, it's not a lack of love, but a lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriage. And I think that's where, we were very much in love, but then our friendships start,
correct,
kind of dying out. And like how you just said, you start noticing these things, and, it's not about what keeps us together, right? It's not about, we have so much in common. It's about how much you're going to deal with on, like, this motherfucker's asshole, or
yes.
like, I don't like these 10 things about him. Yeah. So it's really on what that expansion is like, on how much you want to deal with. And that's where we were. And when we were in it, it wasn't like we knew. It wasn't like we identified that and was aware of that. We were just like, this person, like, I was just like, she don't agree with nothing I'm saying. Yeah. But and a majority of our conversations or our arguments were over what?
Kids.
Majority of them. I would say a good 90% of them.
Yeah. And then just like small little differences. I say as well too, when you first get together, those first 3 months, you're liars, right? Everything. You like that? Yeah, I like that. You don't like that? No, you don't like that? I don't like that. It's like, oh, you're a liar.
So we've been gaming each other the whole time. So game recognized game. You throwing game at me, I'm throwing game at you.
Okay. I guess you could say that. It's true, right? We have this fake face, and then pretty soon you get tired of it. Oh, we're together now, huh? Yeah, well, I don't wrap my hair up every night, or sometimes I wake up looking like this, and it's like, oh shit, I didn't know that. Now you're comfortable, so now things kind of have changed. So when you get comfortable with someone, it tends to change.
Oh man, huge. We get comfortable, and then I don't know if it's changed, right? It's just you just get comfortable, right? And it's because we get into this thing where, and you brought it up the other day, where it's like you're comfortable with me, so therefore you could treat me or look at me or talk to me any way you want.
Yeah, because you're gonna always be there.
Exactly.
So, yeah, but no, we definitely learned how to respect each other, how to honor our time with each other, and that definitely came from our friendship.
And how I mean, and let's talk about that. Like, how do we get to that point? Because we were counting the years, right? It was like, all right, the fifth year. It's like, all right, we've been together for 5 years. This is the 5-year itch. Things going to get better tomorrow.
7 year.
Well, when we got to 5, they pushed it to 7. It was like, oh shit, what happened to 5? It was like, well, no, you got to make it to 7. We got to 7, and it wasn't even really 7. It was 6. So we added a year.
Oh yeah, that was
we threw a whole 7-year anniversary, and it wasn't even a 7th year.
It was
blame
our
that on
6th
Facebook.
Year.
Yeah, that was Facebook's problem.
I don't even know how we did that, but
that was my fault. I would totally. I'll raise my hand and take the blame for that one. That was all me.
At the last minute, we figured it out, and we saved everything. Now we had all the decorations for the 7th.
For the 7th year, yeah.
And then did the 6th with no decoration.
A total fucking debauchery. Like I fucked that all the way up. Made you spend all that money. I ain't make you. You was eager to spend all that money, and then you had to spend more money to make up for the 6th year. Yeah. But
I thought we were itching. I was like, this is the 7th year, so I think we itching. I think
we was doing more than itching. It was fucking scratching. Like we was.
I don't know if this is gonna work.
Yeah, yeah. Like we was going through it.
Yeah.
And again, it was all like 90% was kids. It was just a disagreement of how to raise kids.
You had one way, I had another way.
Yeah,
just kind of meeting.
And then from just where you wanted to be in life. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not where I want to be in life. I felt like I've been down this road already. And I start thinking about like what you told me was, yo, you need to spend some time alone first before you commit. And I was kind of having that remorse, like, well, damn, maybe I should have took that time, but now it's too late. Right. So now we're in the middle of the race. I can't say, hey, you were right 6 years ago.
Can I have that time?
Can I have that time now? Like, that's selfish. And, you know what I mean? Selfish as fuck. Like, so I had to sit back and say, all right, well, where are we gonna go? And you kind of had some things that you were going through, and I was like, yo, I can't be with a woman that does, act like this, got an attitude like this, and don't care for a man. Everything seemed like it was competitive. Like, yo, we're not in competition.
Yeah.
So it was some ultimatums that was given in a lot of different conversations.
And that I struggled with that as well, like this competition feeling that I felt kind of creeping up into our relationship. And I kind of credit it to us being older children. Like, I'm the oldest, you're the oldest, so we kind of always have to be the ones to roger up. So it's like, well, I did this, and you're like, no, I did that, and it's like, well, I can do it better. And it's like, no, it's not about a competition. It's never about a competition with us. Facts. I mean, we're in no competition with each other. And when you look at it that way, then you become my competitor and not my companion. Yeah. And a competitor you compete with, a companion you just companion with. So
and compete and control, right? It's like not only are we going to compete, then we're going to control, because then it's who has the upper hand, who's going to be the winner at the end of the day, who's going to be able to wave their flag and say, I am the one that has the last word. So it's a lot of that ego that goes into relationships, and we it was deep inside of us. Yeah. And then we came out of it, right? Like, so we did. So it wasn't any counseling. I think the counseling came across once or twice. Like, maybe we should go talk to somebody. Yeah. And we, of course, we far from church, right? And we wasn't in church as much as we were, and that wasn't an opportunity for us, or it wasn't even an option. Like, we wasn't even trying to go that route. But we were like, all right, well, who can we talk to? Who's out there that we could have these conversations with to kind of iron out whatever these feelings are that we're feeling? And at the end of the day, it was us. Yeah. All we had to do was look in a mirror, and it was like, it's you, fucker. Yeah. That's how simple as it was. And we talked about this in a few episodes before. You getting into yoga and get into manifesting kind of opened up our eyes into a different world in a different way, and a different awareness. Right.
We seen each other as two humans having two spirits having a human experience. Exactly. And decided not to judge each other on that, and to just live. Another thing we seen was that we were, how they say the opposites attract, and it's your likeness that kind of attracts you, but it's the opposite of it that kind of keeps you attracted. If we were totally alike, then it wouldn't work. It'd be weird. Then once we started to figure out that we were opposites, it kind of got weird as well. But then we figured out how those opposites work, right? So if I tend to be on the messier side and you tend to be on more of a cleaning side, then that kind of works, as long as we don't take advantage of each other. Exactly. And then that's when it starts to get a little, like, okay, well, you need to do more, or, that's when it gets sticky. Yeah. But once we learned our kind of yin and yang of each other, I think we found a good spot.
And then it became my intentions to learn you, and not only learn, because people always say, oh, treat people how you want to be treated. And it was like, nah, let me treat my wife how she would want to be treated, not how I would want to be treated, because I'm a dude and I want these things, and she might not want those things that I want, right? So I can't say, I'm treating you like I want to be treated, like, and that's typically the macho voice of it, right? Yeah. But I want to treat you how you want to be treated, right. Danielle, not Danielle Walker, not Mrs. Walker, Danielle, like how do you feeling? And like you said, we're individuals having a human experience, and that changed our lives. Like, that was like, I have no time for control. I have no time for arguments. I have no time for being upset. And, we talked about having that empty feeling, those empty calories, which is anger, is like we kind of got rid of all of that.
Yeah.
And then communication became our number one tool.
Mm-hmm.
Communication was everything. And not only just talking, but being honest.
Yes.
And like, yo, this is what's up.
Yeah. And learning the power of our words and not just like running off, at the mouth, and understanding that what we say can really wreck us or make us.
Very true. My final thought is, when it comes to, love and marriage and like our story that we talked about, friendship is the first and foremost thing. Because when you look at your friends, there's no judgment on your friends, right? You take that friend exactly who they are. If they're drunk on top of a roof and they call you, you're gonna show up for them. If your companion does that, you might judge them. Fuck that. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta have a fuck that moment, especially when you look at your companion and you gotta realize, like, yo, there is no friend, no best friend, no other person, no twin sister, no twin brother that will ever be like that person that you lay your head with every single night. And it's a choice. You know how vulnerable you're going to be with each other, but it has to be a two-way street. It can't be a one-way thing, and you have to kind of identify and be aware of that and have those conversations. So make sure you treat that person right from the get-go as a friend, and make sure that you keep that baseline through it all.
Definitely. I would just piggyback on that final thought. I was just saying that, yes, keep it light, keep it friendly, keep your friendship alive, and that keeps it fun. It's fun in our relationship. It's definitely been fun, and I think that's because we're friends. And when you have a friend in your relationship, you treat them different. It's like, this is my friend first, and then my lover, my husband, and everything else that he is after, and business partner. He's so much, but the friendship is one that we will never lose.
Very true.
I love you.
I love you. Life is shit. Do us a favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Leave a review. Let us know what your thoughts are. That's the only way that this show is going to be successful. And we appreciate you. Talk with you next time.